Game week 37 done, and congratulations to Arsenal securing Champions League again.
Yeah, I want to pretend I weren't nervous about it, but because it looked like we had second spot nailed on, right? But when I started to look at the few fixtures coming up, we had Liverpool away, and then we had Newcastle at home, who have been a bit of a bogey team in the last couple of years. I pretended I wasn't slightly worried, but I was. But we got it done. Um, yeah, thanks to Rice and Raya, really. Raya pulled off some ridiculous saves, and then Rice scored a great goal. So, yeah, it's like bittersweet, isn't it? It's always
But
good
does
to
it
see him win and get
would it have
champions.
mattered? Would it have mattered whether you finish second, third, or fourth to you? As long as you got Champions League, or it's still
Well,
the
do you know what? I
pride
think
of
if we
second
had
place.
we lost, bear in mind we were 2-0 down against
Yeah,
Liverpool.
yeah, yeah.
So had we, and they don't tend to drop points when they're up at half time, especially going in 2-0 up, and Arsenal have got a tendency to just sort of like just melt basically. If
Yeah.
in the past we have anyway. So yeah, 2-0 down against Liverpool with Newcastle the next game, who have already beaten us two or three times in the last year. You start to think, right, we're getting dragged down now. We'd have been on 67 points with Villa, Chelsea, City on 66.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, then you go, actually, the last game of the season. I know we've only got Southampton, but do you know what I mean? We're in a position where it's coming down to that last game.
Yeah, and you don't want it to, right? You just want to.
Yeah, and you just want it wrapped up, really. But the team must have been pretty deflated because we finished second the last two seasons. Last season went very close, took City to the last day to then G yourself up for another season, fall short, loads of injuries, go out of the Champions League, all that. Like to get yourself G'd up for a team like Liverpool who are champions, and then Newcastle who are physically very strong, and there's not that many teams in the league that are as physically strong as us, and I think Newcastle probably are.
Yeah, and
Uh,
potentially them topping you, right, for second place as well.
yeah, and them leapfrogging us. I mean, it just would have been shit across the board. So yeah, to win it, last home game of the season. Yeah, I was pretty pleased with the second half. Rice scoring a quality goal. Yeah, look, it's like I say, it's bittersweet because Arteta said it at the end. He was hoping, and so were all of us, that last game of the season we'd have had the Premier League or the Champions League there, and it would have been a big celebration. But to be honest, it was a bit of a that like the atmosphere wasn't great.
Yeah, and Chris, I know there's quite a few non-Arsenal fans, and you guys are celebrating Champions League qualification. But again,
Yeah,
going back to
well,
what Pierce has said, right? They've been fighting for the Premier League over the course of last three seasons, right? And yeah, fine, finishing second place, but they've had Champions League every time.
Okay, I'll
Not
put
every team can get the Champions League.
I'll, I'll put it this way, right? Yeah, I mean, it's to everyone else it's funny, and Pierce, let me finish what I'm going to say. To everyone else, it's funny, right? They're celebrating again, blah blah blah. Wenger started this, and he said it that being in the top four will one day be like a trophy. It's not a trophy.
no,
However, what I will say is, and uh, maybe it's because George isn't here. I'm being kinder. There's 17 teams that would have swapped with Arsenal last over three seasons. Seven, like not Liverpool, or City, not obviously not Arsenal. So 17 teams who would rather be in Arsenal's position in the league.
yeah, I think that's
That
fair.
goes without. If just looking at it purely like that, right?
Yeah,
Even if they finish second every season, there's 17 teams who would fucking do that.
yeah, and look, it's relative, isn't it? Because Crystal Palace won the FA Cup, and there's 80,000 grown men sobbing because they've
But,
never won a
but,
trophy
but
before.
I mean, I know we're shifting, but wasn't that like? I know it's Palace and like if it was Liverpool winning, I'd hate it and I'd be laughing and calling them all a bunch of stuff. But the Palace, like, it was just a beautiful, like,
Yeah, well,
it was
I,
amazing.
I know a couple
We'll
of
touch on it, but going back to this whole Arsenal, and I know,
Yeah, you want me to be nasty about it, and
no, don't be
part of
bad,
me
nasty
wants
about it,
me to
but
be nasty. Maybe because I'm so nervous about what is the biggest game of the season. Um,
Do
coming
you
up.
know what it's like if you're an Olympic medalist and you're expected, you've won the silver medal for the last 2 years, and everyone's going, "You should go and win gold now." But then all of a sudden in the race, it looks like you're not even going to get bronze. You're quite happy just to pick up that silver medal again. Do you know what I mean?
I think it is one of those. We'll look back at the era and say it was a decent Arsenal side. There was just better teams, right? But
Yeah, look,
on a
I've banged on
higher
about it all
level,
season. There's more. There's some context around it. We've had 27 injuries, more injuries than anyone else in the league. And again, Arteta said it. He said, "Look, there's some teams that have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 injuries, and they've slipped down to the bottom half of the table. Teams that you'd expect to be right up there. We've managed to maintain ourselves. We've come second, or should
I
come
agree.
second, get to the semi-finals of the Champions League with a central midfielder we just signed playing up top, no recognised striker, Saka out for 4 months, Odegaard out for 3 months, Gabriel, our best centre half, out
Yeah,
months.
you're taking your
Havertz out.
spine, right?
But
What I
and I'm
will
going
what
to
I will
jump
say
on.
is,
Hold on, I'm going
I
to
mean,
jump
I
on.
know
I want to jump
I'm
on
gonna
to
hang on.
next
I'm
season,
just
right? No, I want to jump on to next season.
Arsenal fans are already there online. They're already there. Next season's our season.
season. Olé,
But
olé.
if you have a bad start or a weak start and you're not in top four or even in contention of the Premier title, is there blood there for Arteta?
Do you know what? I had a meeting today with an Arsenal fan who's quite a bit older than me as well. So I thought he'd have I don't know, a better perspective. But he said, yeah, if we don't win anything next season, then Arteta's got to go. And I mean, I know Sky Sports are absolute clickbait merchants, and they're not even worth listening to. I mean, Paul Merson, I know he's a Chelsea fan, but played for Arsenal for a long time, is a
Yeah.
bit of a legend, I'd say. Like he was saying, oh, if Arteta's not in the top two at Christmas, he's got to go. They've got to go find someone else. I just don't think it's that cut and dry. Like, let's say we kick off next season and Rice, Saliba, and Saka all break their fucking ankles. You just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, look,
You got to sack you got
if
to sack your fitness team. To be honest, with your
yeah, but no, no,
injuries
but
you've
look,
had,
look
that's
if
where the investigation
if
should be.
we do, I've said this before. We've invested heavily in our defence. We signed a number one keeper when we already had a good number one that we just bought. We've invested heavily in midfield. Going to book Declan Rice. I mean, we do need another attacking midfielder because we've only got Odegaard, and when he's not on it, we have no one else to bring in. But I'd consider him part of that front line. We need to sign some attackers. So if we go out and sign a striker, a winger, and an attacking midfielder, and he keeps everyone fit, there's nothing stopping us, I don't think, from winning
You're
either
about
the
two,
league.
three. You're about 2, 3 players short.
Yeah, if we went and got
Like
a number
it's
nine,
annoying.
and
You're so close.
But
You're so close.
but the
But
thing is, it's taking action, right? I know you were talking about Cunha to Arsenal, and it looks like he's going United.
yeah, he's a bad egg. Apparently, that's why we didn't want him. But no, look, and there's a bit more to that point. If all the stars aligned, if we keep everyone fit, what if City go and spend £1 billion and they're perfect next season and they don't lose a game and they get 110 points? Will everyone go, Arteta's got to go? Like
there's context.
there's
I agree with you.
we
I agree with you.
football fans, and it's because of the fucking clickbait age, live between you've got to win, you got to win it all, top trophies, top competitions, or you're a loser and you lose your job. 99.9% of football clubs live in that space in between. But for some reason, Arsenal are measured on that. Win it all. Oh, you've had 3 seasons now and you've spent X amount. Well, look how much United have spent. Look how much Chelsea have spent. Like, I don't know why we're held to this standard that if we don't win the league,
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because the expectations there.
But why?
Expectation.
But why? Because we're
Because
good.
you're a better run club. That's why you're a better run club. The expectation is there. It's
So Liverpool have got a brilliant squad. City have got endless fucking pots of cash. Chelsea spunk billions of pounds. Like, why is it Arsenal are held
Chelsea
in
and
this
United
regard that
aren't really
you don't
in
win
there.
it, tear it all up and start again? Like,
I
look,
think it's because it's Arsenal's the longest now, isn't it, since they've won out of the so-called top six, right? So the expectation is there.
Spurs have
I
never
mean,
won it.
Liverpool used to get hammered when they came close.
Liverpool went 30 years without winning it. I don't
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
Klopp. I don't remember Klopp. People calling for Klopp's head when he didn't win anything for the first few years.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But
It's
what I
just
will,
weird, and I know why they do it, and it's because I know I'm reacting to it, and it's putting a fucking video on YouTube reacting to it, and then more people click. More, I mean, no one clicks on our fucking videos, but more, it's engagement, it's clicks. That's the currency these days, isn't it? But it's such a bullshit take. Like, you
I
know,
agree.
like I say, if we get 100 points next season and we are basically perfect, but City get 101 points, do you sack Arteta? Like that? Come on, that's stupid.
I
Look,
agree.
look, I'm hoping City don't get back to the levels they had, and I hopefully Liverpool. I mean, look, Liverpool have lost 4 games at this point, so they certainly haven't been perfect. Our points total from the last 2 seasons would have seen us win the league. So if we get back to where we can be, a little bit of luck with injuries and the right 1, 2, 3 signings, then I think we probably will win the league.
Well, let's wait and see. Thank you, guys.